it's time.
Make it so.
It's me, Mario!
I'm Batman. Strong am I with the Force.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
You're a wizard, Harry.
And welcome to World War G episode 143. I'm Troy.
I'm AJ.
Okay. So our list this week is a little different. What I'm going to do is I have 20 pairs of actors who played the same superhero.
Okay.
And I'm going to read these off to you, and you give me your opinion on who you think played this character better.
All right, I can do this. And you at home or wherever you're at abroad, feel free to do the same.
Yes. Okay. Number 20. Edward Norton and Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk.
I'm for sure going. Okay, so we've seen now more installments with Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. As it stands right now, before we see Thor Ragnarok, I'm going to have to go with Edward Norton.
Really?
Yeah. I thought he did a pretty decent job. I don't know. I feel that we haven't really had that big of a dose of Hulk except for in these couple of movie adaptations. And I don't know. When I think of the Hulk, I still think of Edward Norton.
Well, yeah, I can kind of see what you're saying because wow, excuse me. With Edward Norton, you got to see
different sides of him.
Yeah, I mean that was an entire movie about the Hulk.
Right. And he wasn't always the Hulk. It seems like whenever he's on screen, now, Mark Ruffalo, you get a little dialogue. You see him acting all brainy, with Tony Stark. But for the most part, you don't see him do too much acting, or he's not as versatile looking. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, and with Mark Ruffalo, though he is good, it's like you say, we haven't had him hold a whole movie together. So,
right.
All right, I get it. Number 19, Lynda Carter and Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman.
Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
Hands down.
I would agree with that one.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have their nostalgia goggles on talking about Lynda Carter as Wonder Woman, but
you go back and watch it.
It's not good.
It doesn't hold up.
No, it's campy and kind of dumb. Number 18. This one we have 3.
Ooh.
Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland, and Andrew Garfield as SpiderMan. This one's a little tougher.
Right? That's what I'm thinking. Okay, because let's see, read them off again. Tobey Maguire,
Tom Holland, and Andrew Garfield.
I know that the Andrew Garfield movies get a lot of flack, but I thought they were pretty decent. Although in Amazing Spider-Man, this is actually a Spider-Man movie done right. And I did like Tobey Maguire in the first one, even though he was a little bit older. I thought it was decent.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna have to go with our boy, the Amazing Spider-Man.
Tom Holland?
Yes.
Okay.
How about you for yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really dig the Andrew Garfield movies that much. They felt really rushed to me. Hurry and make these so we don't lose the rights to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And Tobey Maguire, he was fine, but I think with him, we really liked it because that Spider-Man movie was really different, and it was the first we got, and yeah. But with Tom Holland, in Civil War, now in Homecoming, he's just
a kid.
Yeah, he's just a kid. He embodies that character a lot more than the other two, so I would agree. Number 17, Ben Foster and Ben Hardy as Angel. Now, if you don't remember, Ben Foster played Angel in X-Men number 3, The Last Stand. Then Ben Hardy just played him in Age of Apocalypse.
I did like, man, I'm forgetting his name. Second one, Age of Apocalypse.
Ben Hardy?
Ben Hardy. A little bit better, even though I thought he was one of the weakest horsemen out of the bunch.
Yes, I would agree.
You got Storm and Magneto who actually held up, and these other guys. I mean, Psylocke. Okay. I mean, she was okay, and I couldn't stand him in X-Men. How whiny he was with his dad and cutting off his wings and being this broody kid. I'm just like, all right, dude, stop.
All right. Number 16, Ben Affleck and Charlie Cox as Daredevil.
Charlie Cox.
Yeah. Never think too much about that one.
No. I did finish The Defenders, by the way.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. It was pretty decent. You're right.
Bad.
It's right up there with Daredevil, but Daredevil's still by far the best out of them all. We got Ben Affleck again going up against Christian Bale as Batman. Now, I would also put in the other Batman with this. I don't think they appear in this list, but I would put Michael Keaton and Val Kilmer and George Clooney in this group as well. So with that in mind... That doesn't really change my decision much.
Okay.
Because it was a horse race between those two anyways, and I would have to give it up to Christian Bale.
See, I'm the opposite. I'm going Ben Affleck.
Really? Mm-hmm. You like kind of this older...
I do.
Distinguished Batman?
I like the older, grizzled Batman that just been doing this for so long now. And he's just...
He's I'm getting too old for this.
Yeah. I like it. I've always liked Ben Affleck's Batman.
Yeah.
Even in Batman v Superman.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Christian Bale, yeah, but he kind of, to me, I like the more playboy
philanthropist.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That side of kind of a Batman, where he's charismatic and just has to live this dual life. Yeah. It's like an adult version of kind of Spider-Man.
Okay. Yeah, because
he's got all this money as well.
We haven't really seen that with Ben Affleck yet. The Bruce Wayne of it all. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen that yet.
That charm.
Yeah.
You don't think he's going to try to make a move on Wonder Woman?
No, I think that's past.
Yeah.
I think they're just good friends now.
Oh.
Number 14. Henry Cavill and Brandon Routh as Superman. Now, I would also, just like I did with Batman, throw in Christopher Reeve in this one as well.
Okay, now give me my choices here.
So you got Christopher Reeve, right?
Right.
Who played those 4 Superman films. Brandon Routh, who was in Superman Returns, and then Henry Cavill, who's in currently Superman.
Probably Henry Cavill. I like the outfit. We haven't seen him because he's quote unquote, dead. But
yeah,
he does to me seem kind of embodies Superman. This Greek mythologist kind of a guy that you'd put up on the pedestal, but can still at the same time, be kind of nerdy and quirky.
Yeah, I mean, It's tough for me.
Yeah.
But I would say Henry Cavill as well.
Okay.
Because even when we only had Christopher Reeve Superman, when I was reading comic books as a kid, to me, those two didn't match up. The Superman in the comics and Christopher Reeve Superman didn't quite match up.
You had to take it like this is just an adaptation.
Yeah. Christopher Reeve was a Superman of the 50s and 60s. The bright, smiling,
Beacon of hope.
Beacon of hope and light, and basically Jesus in a cape.
Yeah.
Whereas Henry Cavill is more the Superman that I've been reading for years now. He's more of he has the weight of the world and responsibility of the world on his shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And though he tries to remain optimistic, sometimes that can't get to you.
There's that gray area that he kind of flies in a lot of the times.
And by the way, if you're listening, and if you don't like Man of Steel because he killed Zod, Superman does not have a no-kill rule. That is Batman.
Yeah.
That is not Superman. Superman has never made that rule. Superman will tear a man limb from limb if he has to. That's why I like him. Number 13.
You just took a dark turn with Superman.
Evan Peters and Aaron Taylor Johnson as Quicksilver. So Evan Peters, of course, was in the X-Men films, Days of Future Past and Age of Apocalypse, and then Aaron Taylor Johnson was in Avengers Age of Ultron.
I don't even know if I have really a preference, to be completely honest. Can I go like D, all of the above?
Is there one that just narrows it out? I mean, we have seen Evan Peters a couple times as Quicksilver, whereas Aaron Taylor Johnson, we saw him once, and he got killed. So,
Aaron Taylor Johnson, that's the one where you've got him running around the room kind of moving, manipulating stuff with the music going, right?
No, that's Evan Peters.
Evan Peters?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I might have to go with Evan Peters.
Evan Peters, okay.
Yeah, how about yourself?
I would agree.
Yeah.
I think they did a lot more with his powers in X-Men than they did in Avengers.
And the way that he utilized them. You know what I mean? Like the look of it.
Yeah.
You know how like we finally get the Flash. We're going to see with just Justice League the way that it's actually meant to look.
Yeah.
That's, I would say with like Quicksilver, that's probably like to me. I guess the way it's supposed to look.
This one might be a little tougher. Rebecca Romijn and Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique. And I say this might be tougher because they're basically doing the same thing.
Yeah. One more time.
So we got Rebecca Romijn, who is in X-Men 1, 2, and 3. And then Jennifer Lawrence, who's been in, First Class and Age of Apocalypse and Last Stand.
Probably Rebecca Romijn.
Rebecca Romijn.
Yeah. Man, she's pretty dang good looking.
Yeah.
Like I had a huge crush on her.
So is Jennifer Lawrence. She's good looking too.
Very, very true. I like my Mystique, who's older. I mean, I know, okay, they're all younger in this, but I preferred her to be older because then you can actually see her mothering.
She could. She is Mystique.
Right?
She could father people. Yeah.
Mothering Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which brings up an interesting point. If Mystique transformed into a man,
yes,
and let's say then had sex with a woman, could Mystique get somebody pregnant as a man? And then how messed up would that kid be emotionally?
Right. Yeah.
Knowing that your mother was also your father.
But, whoa. Sheesh. Mystique is Bruce Jenner.
Oh. Huh. Well then, you know how the kids would turn out.
Yeah.
I wonder. I mean, I guess that would make sense because
because she transforms entirely, and you know what I mean. There's not, so she'd have the correct anatomy.
Should have all the parts.
Yeah.
I guess. All right.
Man.
They should do an X-Men story about that.
Right.
I think that'd be interesting.
Where she fathers a child, a little girl.
Yeah.
Wow, that'd be really weird.
It turns out the whole time it was Mystique, and I don't know. Anyway, number 11, Kelsey Grammer and Nicholas Hoult as Beast.
Kelsey Grammer was in the originals, right?
He was only in number 3.
Where he's a diplomat.
Last Stand. Yeah. And he did make a very quick appearance in Days of Future Past.
Right.
At the very end.
I think Kelsey Grammer, only reason being is I like Beast when he's very diplomatic and, even though he's a beast looking like a beast, he's kind of the wedge between the mutants and the humans.
Yeah.
He can see both sides and play devil's advocate. But at the same time, that's such a funny character to me that he's super intelligent and looks the way that he does, and he's trying to, bridge the gap.
Yeah. And I would agree. Because I think Kelsey Grammer, he brings more of a distinction.
Regal.
It's like a blue furry Frasier.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what Beast is. He's an intellectual. He's well read. He, does.
Even though he's hanging upside down reading, he's reading a book. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas Nicholas Hoult is just being, he's just being Nicholas Hoult and dressed up in blue fur. Okay. Number 10. Ooh, hey. We're back to Superman.
What?
Dean Cain and Tyler Hoechlin as Superman. So this is TV Superman.
Yeah. Which I didn't watch much of either one. But when I think of Superman, TV Superman, I do think of Dean Cain.
Dean Cain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got the hair for it.
Now, the Dean Cain Superman was interesting because they kind of changed his origin. He wasn't
raised by.
Yeah, well, he wasn't. No, he wasn't Superman. He was always Clark Kent, who just happened to get powers.
Yeah,
he was. I don't believe he was an alien, if I'm remembering that correctly. Whereas Tyler Hoechlin is more of your typical. He's playing Superman as he would be in the comics.
Yeah.
I'd probably agree with
Dean
you
Cain?
with Dean Cain. Yeah.
Yeah.
As much as I like Tyler Hoechlin, that was the only reason I watched any episode of Supergirl in the first place was when he was on. But number 9, Tyler Mane or Liev Schreiber as Sabretooth. So Tyler Mane was in the first X-Men, and then Liev Schreiber, of course, was in Wolverine Origins. I think. Yeah, those are the only 2 appearances of that character.
What's his name? Tyler what?
Tyler Mane.
Tyler Mane. Probably Tyler Mane. This character, he's just been on the same level with Wolverine physical wise, not intellectually speaking. And that's why Wolverine's always had kind of the edge. Even though he gets the crap beat out of him, he still had kind of the edge, and I thought they did a pretty good job where he's busting trees apart,
Okay.
How about yourself?
I would agree. Because I look at Tyler Mane and I see the Sabretooth from the comics. Whereas Liev Schreiber, it just looks like it's kind of an interpretation of that character.
Right.
where he's got the really short hair and, you know, he's basically just a normal guy. Just, yeah. Okay. Number 8. Michelle Pfeiffer or Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. Michelle Pfeiffer, of course, being in Batman Returns, and Hathaway being in The Dark Knight, Nobody Cares.
Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yeah. Anne Hathaway, she just seemed like she just had a cow, like a little cow, a little thing around. You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't all that tricky or cunning or cat-esque.
Yeah.
Right?
I see that.
She could have played a better, like, Batgirl. Or somebody else.
That's actually a good point. She'd be a pretty good Batgirl or Batwoman.
Right?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I would agree. It's hard. It's hard to take over such, you know, that an iconic character as Michelle Pfeiffer played. You know. All right, number 7. Jennifer Garner or Elodie Young as Elektra. So Jennifer Garner, of course, in Daredevil and in the standalone Elektra movie, and Elodie Young in Daredevil, the Netflix, and Defenders and all that.
Which one was she in?
She was in Daredevil in the Defenders.
What's the actress's name again?
Elodie Young, I think.
Okay.
That's how you say that.
She, Elodie Young, when she actually goes and kind of takes over the group, you know, tearing them apart and just like blood all over her face. Yeah. That was pretty dang gnarly. And she's having to, you know, she remembers who she was and once was, but at the same time, she realizes that she's like another person. And I liked it. I thought it was a pretty good adaptation.
So that'd be your choice? Yeah. I would agree. And for me, it's just because I don't like Jennifer Garner at all. I think she seems a very cold person. Number 6, Patrick Stewart or James McAvoy as Professor X.
Patrick Stewart?
Yeah, Patrick Stewart.
He is Professor
X.
X.
He is. We're going back to TV. Number 5, Justin Hartley or Stephen Amell as Green Arrow. Now, Justin Hartley, if you don't know, was in Smallville. Yeah. And then, of course, Stephen Amell is in Arrow.
Stephen Amell.
Yeah. As goofy as that TV show is.
Right.
I can't stand Smallville anymore. Like, the more I think about it,
the more you get, like, upset.
Yeah. Like, that show was freaking stupid. Yeah. All right. Number 4, Thomas Jane or John Bernthal as the Punisher. Now, there was another Punisher, Ray Winston, I don't know, who is in Punisher Warzone, who actually also played Volstagg in Thor, one of the Warriors 3. But regardless. So, who's your favorite Punisher? Oh, I guess Dolph Lundgren also played Punisher back in the 80s, but we don't speak of that.
We try to forget.
Just like we don't speak of David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury.
I really like John Benthal's like Punisher. Yeah, he's pretty dang gritty. Like, I still think that one scene where he goes into the pawn shop for guns.
Oh yeah.
And then he's about to walk out, and the guy's like, "Well, we got some videos if you want." Flips over the sign, walks back, and man, yeah.
Yep,
it was pretty awesome.
And that scene where they introduce him and he's in the hospital and just starts firing the guns in the hospital. You're like, oh, that's freaking terrifying.
Right?
Yeah.
or even that hallway scene that they did with him.
Yeah.
Or when he's trying to get back out of prison.
Yeah.
Just taking down those guys one after another. Like, and it was believable that he was just beating these guys down.
Yeah. Number 3. Oh, boy. Have fun with this one. Laura Vandervoort or Melissa Benoist as Supergirl. Now, Laura Vandervoort was also in Smallville.
Yeah.
So, pick your poison there.
Pass.
All right. I would agree. I can't. I couldn't do it either. I can't.
That's like with the whole kill, marry, kill game. Like, I don't know, myself. I take the one bullet and just off myself.
Now, this one seems obvious, but think it through.
Okay.
Chris Evans or Michael B. Jordan as the Human Torch in Fantastic Four movies. Now, it seems obvious. You want to say Chris Evans.
Right.
But think about it.
Unfortunately,
I mean, if your pick is Chris Evans, go with Chris Evans.
I still think I am going with Chris Evans, just because he kind of played that snarky, like full of himself, conceited jock, more or less.
Okay.
And that's why I think I would go with him. That's all, because he's always been, either, like, pun intended, hot or cold, like, and easily to ignite, to just go off and do these things, and then they're having to clean up after the aftermath.
Yes.
So, yeah, Chris Evans.
See, I'm saying Michael B. Jordan.
Really?
And here's why.
Why?
With everything that was wrong with that Fantastic Four movie, he was not one of the things wrong with it.
Yeah. He
was actually decent, and he actually seemed like he was trying,
Where the other ones, they were just like looking for a paycheck.
Yeah. And Chris Evans, to me, he's just Captain America now.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned. And so that's why I would say Michael B. Jordan, because he held the crap together.
Well, did you see that one movie, I want to say it's Losers, where he's singing and going through the elevator scene, and then like pulls up the guns and kind of like shoots at those guys. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm picturing. That kind of Chris Evans, kind of a scrawnier dude, not like quite so bulky.
Yeah.
But just
all right. The number 1, Michael Fassbender or Ian McKellen as Magneto.
Ian McKellen. Yeah. When he's sitting there waiting for Mystique to bust him out of the prison, and just how calculated he was, and then he just realizes, hey, wait a second, there's kind of a disturbance in the force here. Yeah. I'm detecting some metal inside of you. Man, that's pretty wicked.
Yeah, pulls that metal out of him.
Yeah, just to kill everybody else, and then just walk across fly across, out of the prison like nobody's business.
Yeah, Ian McKellen did bring a certain class to that character that Magneto has. Whereas Michael Fassbender played him as more or less as a villain, I mean, yeah. You didn't really sense the conflict within himself that you did Ian McKellen, where you knew Ian McKellen's Magneto wanted to destroy mankind, but at the same time, it's hard to face off against his fellow mutants and Charles Xavier, who was his one-time friend.
Right. Well, and he also seemed like and looked like a Holocaust survivor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you have it.
There you have it. Well, that was interesting. Sparked some interesting discussion there. Okay, when we come back, it's time for some news. We got Hasbro and Justice League and
Leonardo DiCaprio.
And more coming up. So we'll be back right after this.
Are you feeling nostalgic about your music listening needs?
Do you like the tonal quality that only a record can provide?
Then go check out Lavender Vinyl, located at 123 25th Street, Ogden, Utah.
Yeah, go talk to Kylie or Blake. They have a large selection of new and used records. They will also buy your old records, maybe the ones that are just sitting up there in the attic, gathering dust. And if you can't find anything, they'll be more than happy to pre-order it for you. Now, you can always find them at lavendervinyl@gmail.com. You can also check out their website, lavendervinyl.com, or give them a call on the phone, like a normal person, at 385-240-0336.
Be sure to tell them that World War G sent you. Now back to the episode.
And we're back.
Maha,
Maha,
come to
hey.
suck your blood.
And we're back from commercial. Alright. So, there was a story this week. Out of the let's just all shut up and get along category.
Alright.
And that is Hasbro sues DC Comics over Bumblebee. Hasmark filed a trademark infringement lawsuit Monday against DC Comics and Warner Brothers over using the name Bumblebee to market toys. The toy maker claims DC's superheroine Bumblebee, who can shrink and shoot stinger blasts. That sounds familiar. The Wasp, anybody?
Yeah.
Could be confused in the marketplace with its own Transformers character Bumblebee, the fan favorite Autobot that will headline a live-action feature next year. Introduced in 1977, DC's Bumblebee has been a member of the Teen Titans and was featured on the Young Justice animated series. However, Variety reports that it's the character's raised profile as part of the DC Superhero Girls franchise, which includes a Mattel toy line that drew attention of Hasbro. The company seeks to block sales of Bumblebee DC Superhero Girls toys and a Bumblebee Lego set. Toys based on the yellow Transformer began appearing on shelves in 1983, with building block sets listed at 2011. Bumblebee also ranks 4th on a top 25 Transformers list. DC launched its Superhero Girls brand in 2015 in a partnership with Mattel. Here's my thing. DC's character Bumblebee came out in 1977.
Right.
The Transformer came out in 1983.
Yeah.
So there's that. Also, it's just the name. Nobody's confusing the two characters.
Right.
Nobody's going to look at this character of Bumblebee, this young African-American woman in a somewhat bee-looking outfit, and confuse it for the Transformer Bumblebee.
Well, I don't know about you, but I don't see color, Troy.
Oh, sorry.
I might. I mean, I would probably pick up that toy and just be like, oh, I thought this was a Transformer. Jeez.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Really, guys? Can't we all just get along?
It's like, I'm sorry, but DC had that character first. Sorry. And I bet that's what a judge will say.
Yeah.
That character came out first, overruled. You're out of order.
Sustained. I don't know. I'm throwing in. I've
Objection.
seen like 3 episodes of Law and Order.
Yeah. So I'm practically a lawyer.
Practically.
Yeah. Speaking of DC, Justice League is going to be a direct sequel to Batman v Superman. Although we already knew the Man of Steel's sacrifice inspires the Dark Knight to enlist Earth's metahumans to confront a new threat, the events of Justice League are so closely linked to 2016's Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice that the film is being characterized as a direct sequel. The detail emerges from the latest issue of Total Film. which reveals Justice League begins with Henry Cavill's Superman in the ground, having sacrificed himself to Doomsday. That's, of course, not a big surprise, given that the latest trailer depicted a world still in mourning, and the film's marketing has mostly avoided showing the Man of Steel. Yeah. There you go.
Have they not already... Well, I guess I was just thinking about Wonder Woman. They did have a scene with her and Batman, but this was years down the road.
Yeah.
That he was helping collect, a picture for her, and then that sparked this whole movie.
Right, yeah.
So I guess that doesn't... I was just looking to see if that would already make the story or the connection between the two of them, convolute the story. But no, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
I think they just need to eventually... there's been a lot of times, especially recently, where we've talked about Captain America always being a Hydra agent, or some of these other big thing, or even season finales of TV shows where it's just is Glenn still alive or is he dead? These things, to me, this is probably the weakest of them all. Is Superman still alive or is he dead?
Of course he's still alive.
Right? Yeah. There's not really, there's no doubt. It's more of the reveal. Yeah. That's kind of going to be the interesting part.
It's more of how they're going to bring him back and when he's going to show up and
what he's going to do.
Yeah. Of course he's still alive because it's freaking Superman.
Yeah.
DC and Warner Brothers aren't going to keep one of their biggest characters dead.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that's just stupid marketing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, he can't die yeah. So it just seems kind of weak, and they're just drawing it out longer than they need to. Yeah. But it's so they don't have to utilize him in the movies, probably.
Probably.
Yeah. We need to cut down this budget a little bit. Let's say he's still dead. So of actually more interesting news, let's see. When it was announced that an origin story about the Joker was being made at Warner Brothers with director Todd Phillips, the weirdest part of the news wasn't the idea itself, but the fact that Martin Scorsese would be producing the movie. The director has avoided large studio fare for the most part. There's been a couple that he hasn't avoided, but for the most part, so this is for sure out of the wheel well. But the word is that the studio wants him, not only him and his talents, but because his involvement means one of the world's biggest stars will be more easily to nab. THR got word that WB is hoping that Scorsese's involvement will lure none other than Oscar-winning Leonardo DiCaprio. I can finally say that,
Yeah.
After the
Hey, I can type that now.
Yeah.
After 30 years.
Leonardo DiCaprio to play the lead role of the classic Batman villain. The idea behind the casting is that the new slate, this would be a spin-off movie of which no connections to be made. Then it goes on to say that they begin filming. They've not reached out yet to Leonardo, but they're hoping through Scorsese they might be able to. And I just looked a second ago and we were talking about this. There was 5 other movies that Scorsese has directed that Leonardo DiCaprio has been in.
Right.
Let's see. So you got Shutter Island,
Wolf of Wall Street,
Aviator,
The Departed, Gangs of New York.
Gangs of New York, which that one was kind of a mainstream one, like they were talking about.
Yeah.
But
all those have actually been kind of mainstream.
More or less, because he's a big name. And
it's not like Martin Scorsese, he's like an independent filmmaker or anything.
Yeah. Like we've never heard of him before. After Goodfellas, he kind of...
Yeah, he just kind of dropped off face of the earth. Don't know what happened to him.
He disappeared.
Martin who? I'm not familiar.
So 2 things. Do you think that this would actually lure Leonardo DiCaprio into doing this? And then what do you think of a more gritty, dark origin story for him with Leonardo DiCaprio as the Joker?
I think it's a mistake. Yes, I think they have a better chance of getting DiCaprio with Scorsese on board. However, he's not directing, he's producing.
Right.
So what his involvement would be in the film remains up in the air.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sure he wouldn't sit just on the sidelines
Yeah.
as this movie goes into production.
But I also don't think he'll be on set every day.
True.
So that might be a deterrent.
Which that is one of the things that I've seen. You know, we'll watch like all these different movies, and you see these directors that are really hands-on and actually get in there and like say, this is what we're looking for. We want you to this, you know, jumping around, doing whatever it takes to get these actors to, you know, to convey whatever it is they're trying to convey.
Yeah.
If he's kind of sitting back a little bit and doesn't have I don't know what it is that draws Leonardo DiCaprio to Scorsese, you know. I mean, perhaps
It would. I think it would be because he's a good director.
Yeah.
And he makes gritty films, but then again, he's not the director of this film. Now, the reason I say it's a mistake is because you have Jared Leto as a Joker. Mm-hmm. They've established him as he is WB and DC EU's Joker. And then all of a sudden you turn around and say, hey, we're doing this Joker standalone film. Not you. You're not going to be in it, buddy. But we're just going to get somebody else entirely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not only does that confuse fans.
Do you think they'll be that confused?
I think
the ones that actually are invested.
Yeah, or they wonder, why is this a different actor? Why don't they have the same actor that was Joker before?
Well, we've asked that same question when it's come to the Flash, right?
Yes, but that would be like, you know, now that we have this Wonder Woman film, you know, the Wonder Woman Justice League all of a sudden being a different actress.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. When you have an actor right there that's already played the character, why not stick with that actor?
Don't you also think that would be kind of like a jab at Jared Leto, being like,
yeah,
well, we didn't like you good enough to do a standalone film?
I think so. And that's the other thing. What's going to make him want to come back to do other films? And then that also brings up the question, is this Joker movie part of the DCEU at all, or is it just some random film?
Yeah.
That just happens to have the Joker in it. You know, I don't know. The whole thing smells like a giant mistake to me.
Even having such a star power as Leonardo DiCaprio?
And Martin Scorsese. If this was a standalone film that didn't have anything else behind it, you know, if this was just, if the DCEU didn't exist and they're planning on doing this, then great, fantastic, go for it. But you're trying to establish this universe. You've been failing. You've had one major success, and now all of a sudden you're going off the rails again. Mm-hmm. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So that's my take.
Okay. I would like to see, I don't know, one of the big draws for me with the Christian Bale Batman movies is that they were kind of darker and grittier, and this Jared Leto, as quirky as he is, I would be interested in seeing a grittier, you know, just like more calculated Joker, because that's one of the things that's missing from this. Even in the Batman the animated series, the Joker has always been like 3 or 4 steps ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
So it would be kind of cool to see kind of a darker, grittier one, and also to see the Red Hood, their involvement in this whole thing.
Yeah.
But you're right, where they're trying to establish a universe, it does seem kind of odd.
Yeah.
If it wasn't just a standalone movie, I'd be all for it as well.
And I'm saying I wouldn't go out and watch it. It's just, I think to the average person, the civilian out there, now like us that are entrenched in these things,
Yeah.
It'll be odd and it'll be confusing, I think.
Yeah, because then they'll want it to connect to the other ones, but it won't.
Yeah. Okay. Say you want to make the Kessel run in under 12 parsecs, but you don't have a functioning vehicle capable of doing so. Why not play pretend with the forthcoming LEGO Millennium Falcon set? In honor of The Last Jedi...
That was loud.
It was loud.
But it was right on cue. Play with this. No.
In honor of The Last Jedi, and apparently on the eve of Force Friday, LEGO announced its latest iteration of Han's Corellian freighter. And for LEGO Master Builders and aspiring Jedi alike, it's breathtaking. This certainly isn't LEGO's first foray into Star Wars sets, or even Millennium Falcon sets, but with its staggering 7,541 pieces and the $800 price tag, it's by far the biggest and most expensive. In fact, it's one of the largest LEGO sets ever. When fully assembled, it measures 1.5 feet long and a foot wide. For scale, there's just a picture. Blah, 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 blah. Like the best LEGO sets, this is a painstakingly detailed model of the Falcon. It's decked out with features any fan would salivate over, from upper and lower quad laser cannons to removable hull plates that, when detached, reveal the ship's vast interior. You can fit up to 4 minifigures in the cockpit, and you have your pick since the set includes both a young and old Han, Chewbacca, Princess Leia, C-3PO, Rey, and Finn. It also comes with a pre-made BB-8 figure and 2 buildable figures, Mynock and naturally a Porg. There's no way this set won't sell out as soon as it's released. We recommend seeking it out in store, preferably at a LEGO shop, rather than ordering it online. Either way, LEGO will likely have them on back order as quickly as possible after the initial rush, and eBay will most definitely have even higher price sets available the day of release.
And it looks amazing.
Oh, it looks fantastic.
Right? It looks pretty dang legit.
But $800?
Right?
I don't understand why Legos are so freaking expensive.
It's little toys.
Yeah.
Little plastic toys.
Even like a 300 or 400 piece will set you back like $25.
Mm-hmm. Which I did, man, I was pretty dang tempted to buy the Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
That little one that they had that I saw at Walmart a couple of weeks ago. The only thing, okay, I've got to ask about this. Millennium Falcon, why is the cockpit over to one? I mean, that's where it's located at, but why is it located there? Don't you think, look, you take one good shot, you hit them and knock them completely off, and they're dead.
Yeah, that's always bugged me too.
Yeah.
Why the cockpit is way over on the right-hand side of the ship.
Like, you're sitting ducks. You just made it, like, easy for you to be, like, targeted. And then you put, like, the guns in the center. Why not have that, like, a huge, like, menacing-looking gun and put these guys in the center?
Yeah.
But, oh, man, that looks impressive.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
And I'd like to own it. Even if we put it like $150, you know, I could see that. But $800?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
You have to build the pieces? Because, okay, it's not the Legos of the past where it's only a couple of different pieces that you're building. So is there a plastic piece in the middle and then you build up on either side?
See, I don't know, because it said you had, you know, parts you can remove and see the interior of the ship.
Right, you could still have that, but if you had like the frame, that's what I'm wondering, if you have like the frame, just a Millennium Falcon outline, and then you build up and build down.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or if you're actually, because I think that that'd create more stability. With as much as it weighs, it's gonna need some sort of thicker structure through the middle.
And then the instruction book to build this thing is probably like the size of like
a manual.
A manual,
like,
yeah.
Like, for a phone. For
Yeah.
like a new Samsung that nobody reads.
It's like 300 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It does have, looking at this video down below, it does have kind of like a landing pad that it sits on.
Okay.
But still, man. If it wasn't $800, Joy, I'd probably be buying this thing.
Yeah, me too. I'd probably
Are
put
they
it
going to
in here
offer
somewhere.
like a half-sized one?
Okay. A box office attendance projected to hit 25-year low. Experts are projecting that 2017 could see box office attendance hitting a 25-year low. With the widening world of TV and online streaming offering so many alternatives to the traditional cinematic experience, it's easy to point fingers when predictions like this come to light. Some would argue that the franchise fatigue has something to do with it as well. This news follows hot on the heels of the revelation that the cinematic summer of 2017 brought in $3.57 billion. That may sound like a lot, but it's actually 15.7% less than the summer of 2016, marking the largest summer-to-summer decline in modern times. Films such as Alien Covenant, The Mummy, been labeled as flops, while the likes of Wonder Woman and Annabelle Creation have... Oh, I did see that.
You did?
Sorry, I got to review that. Remind me.
All right.
Didn't write it down. And Annabelle Creation have enjoyed some summer success. The jury is still out on whether War for the Planet of the Apes qualifies as a hit. And now, The Wrap is stating that these weak summer numbers could be serious damage to 2017's overall box office total. Late in the year releases like Thor Ragnarok, Justice League, and Star Wars The Last Jedi will have to do massive business to get 2017's total anywhere near the $11.3 billion that was made at the box office in 2016.
Did they not hear those last three movies?
I know, right?
Right? Like Star Wars alone.
Yeah. And even if those films do well and bring the year up to $11 billion, the number of actual tickets sold could still mark a historic low. Per The Wrap, even if 2017 reaches $11 billion, the number of tickets sold this year could drop as low as $1.22 billion. That figure would be the lowest since 1992, according to Box Office Mojo. The estimated ticket total is calculated by dividing the total annual revenue against the national average movie ticket price, which Mojo has set at 8.89, up from 8.65 last year.
These guys do have to realize, like, it's gonna ebb and flow. There were some pretty big, staggering movies and how much they made that came out, but I think a lot of it has to do with ticket prices, right? And everybody wanting to get some sort of a deal. I know one of the deals that they offer here is on Tuesdays. You can go to the movies for $5.
$5, yeah.
Yeah. Or if you go to this earlier matinee ones, or people are going to these matinee ones, I do think that there's probably a decline in how many people are going later on the weekends than in years past. But that's when it's, like $10, $20, per ticket.
And I haven't done the research, but I'm sure this kind of thing has happened before.
Right.
Just like you were saying. I'm sure that there are peaks and valleys of box office over the years. Mm-hmm. It just happens. And it'll go up again.
I don't see here. I don't know if it will, just because there's so many other ways that they're coming out with innovative ways for people to watch these movies.
Well, that's true.
Right?
That's true.
I think it might go eventually. The movie theaters will go the way of like the drive-in movie theaters.
That'd be a sad world indeed.
It would for sure. But with streaming,
Yeah.
and every other way that you can watch these movies,
I don't know. I think there's still a population out there that, like me, enjoy the entire theater experience.
yeah, the movie-going experience. Yeah.
Even if I was watching a movie here on my laptop at home, it's not the same. You don't get that same experience.
But with this upcoming generation who's used to just watching YouTube videos, Netflix, Hulu, everything else just on their phones.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah, I don't think...
I mean, not anywhere soon. It would probably be like 20 or 30 years down the road.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I don't think theaters will completely go away entirely. I think they'll always be around. But I think the theater itself and the theater companies they got to make a change.
They got to stop setting these numbers, like, and these expectations.
Yeah, I think you got to
be realistic.
Yeah, prices have got to change.
Yeah,
you know, I think it should be $5 a ticket straight. You know. Yeah. At any theater.
Do you think that this, I mean, bottom line is about the money, but do you think the money and the ticket prices get set kind of on their budgets, what they spend and what they... Do you think if it starts with like the actors, if they took less money, then all the studios would take less money and then the ticket prices would go down? Or where is the...
I think so. I think it's all tied in there. I think a lot of it does trickle down. Because the way that studios make their money back, obviously, is by ticket sales. So if you have someone like a Tom Hanks or Leo DiCaprio that demand $20 million a movie, and so that's your budget right there. Then you have a budget of, $250 million or something like that. A large portion of that's going to go into the actors' pockets. So if you change that around and make it so, the actors do take less money.
Maybe perhaps put a cap on something.
You'd have protests in the streets, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure.
In Hollywood. But I think, yes, it would trickle down because you wouldn't have to jack up the ticket prices so much to make your money back.
Right.
Yeah. And then when it said about franchise fatigue, I think there definitely is something to that. Now, working at the theater again, I see that the movies that are making the money are these big franchise movies.
Right.
The quieter ones that are coming into theaters aren't doing anything. And those are the movies that I think most of the money should be going to.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're the ones that are being made by first-time directors and first-time actors, but they're not getting the love that these giant epic superhero films are getting. I've
watched quite a few YouTube videos where it says like, hey, these are movies that you probably missed in 2015 because they got dwarfed by all of these other movies that came out at the same exact time.
And one of my favorite things in the world is to go find a movie that I've never heard of before and go watch it and find out that it is fantastic and just thoroughly enjoying myself.
Oh, yeah.
Like I did with...
I did as far as like with Get Out as well as 47 Meters Down.
Yeah.
Some of these ones. What's the Green Room?
Yeah, the Green Room.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which ones in particular are you thinking about?
I was thinking, what was that movie called? With Kerry Russell. It was, gosh dang it. It had to do with Austin Land.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't really marketed that much. Not a whole lot of people knew about it. But I was like, well, I'll go check this one out. And I freaking laughed my butt off from start to finish. It was a fantastic movie. But no one went and saw it. because it didn't have a big name, or there were nobody was in capes.
Right.
So yeah.
I think that you were right. There's got to be some sort of like a cap with these things, as far as what the studios take, as well as the celebrities.
Yeah.
Or something's gotta happen.
Yeah.
If you want more people to go out and see these movies.
Yep, something's got to give for sure.
But there's also so many movies to choose from. With all these Sundance films and independent ones, and they're
absolutely right.
You have to pick and choose, and do you also feel like a lot of them people are how we've recommended movies, but we're like, you could wait till Redbox, or not seeing it in the theater, that just cost them like $20.
That's true. And yeah, you're I didn't even think about that aspect of it. There are so many movies that come out all the time. I work at a theater that has 13 screens.
Yeah. And a lot of the time, something.
Yeah, a lot of the time it's like 10 movies are playing at that theater. Mm-hmm. So obviously there's going to be one or two that nobody sees. Whereas back in the day, you had a movie theater that had like 2 or 3 or 4 screens.
Right.
And where each one was playing a different movie, or even just 2 movies. A lot more movies would be getting a lot more attention.
That, and I think that they were staying in the theaters a little bit, maybe not longer, because some of these movies are there for like months.
Yeah.
But they're given a chance that everybody's like, oh, there's those 4 movies. Yeah, I'll go see those ones and see all 4 within a month.
Yeah.
And because there's nothing else to see in theaters, and like, well, maybe I'll give this one a chance.
Yeah.
Where this one, if the movie doesn't do well, after about a week, they're just like, okay, send it to the dollar theater.
Yeah. And then, of course, with the advent of like home video, you got I'll just wait till it comes out on video. I won't go to the theater. I'll just wait till it comes out on video. That hurt them too. Again, back in the day, a movie would be out for, a few months in a theater, and if you didn't see it, you didn't see it.
Right.
Like Star Wars when it first came out. That's why people went and saw Star Wars 25 times, is because if you didn't see it in the theater, too bad.
Yeah.
You're out of luck. And
after word of mouth, everybody was going to see it.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, but
there's a lot of factors in it.
There is. Something has got to change. And I think it will. I think we'll see something, I don't know what, but something happen within the next few years that's going to change the movie theater industry, I bet. If I was gazing into my crystal ball.
Yeah. Speaking about money.
Yeah.
Let's see. Gamers are putting their money where their mouth is. It's been a unimaginable, tough week for those affected by the weather in the Gulf storm. Unprecedented flooding has affected countless people who are only experiencing the very beginnings of the hardships they'll face for the next few months, even years. Which I can't even imagine, losing like everything, and yeah, that's...
I can. I saw it firsthand.
Yeah.
With Katrina. Yeah. Anyway.
But though, with every tragedy of this scale, there is thankfully a silver lining in the lengths that strangers will go to in order to help those in need. One such organization, Games Done Quick, has announced Harvey Relief Done Quick in order to raise money during a live stream starting Friday, so just starting the other day, September 1st, and running through the weekend. So it's still going on now. The group plans to stream speed runs for charity and are still taking submissions via a Google Doc posted in their Twitter account. Then it goes on to talk about if you can't donate or this isn't your cup of tea, you can always go to 1-800-RED Cross. Or, this is kind of cool, you can even text 90 or Harvey to 90999 to make a $10 donation.
Yep.
Man, the future is now. But it's kind of cool to see these guys step up and to offer this thing, especially in the gaming community, realizing that, we are, as a fellow gamer, we're involved and, caring about these other individuals. It's not just, because a lot of the times I think that gamers get this bad rap where they're secluded, keeping themselves...
No.
Right? Okay, yeah. They're secluded, keeping to themselves, doing their own thing, not really involved in the outside world because they're too busy with their avatar.
Yeah, right.
But it's kind of cool to see that these guys are doing that. Have you ever watched any of these speed runs?
I have. I've watched quite a few online, actually.
With Mario and some of these others. Mario is probably one of the easiest, which it is so insane how... I know they can beat the game in 5 minutes, but it is so crazy how they're able to jump and barely hit just the corner of the warp tunnel, warp tube.
Yeah.
And not get affected by these other creatures and everything else jumping out at you, and be able to know exactly where to hit certain things. And
no, my brother could do that with Mario.
Seriously?
He could do the speed run and beat it within 5 minutes or so.
Wow.
I don't know if he could still do it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he used to be able to do that.
Those games take a heck of a lot of skill to do. I'm trying to think of other ones that are easy to do speed runs with.
Like I told you before, when Joni's aunt and uncle bought the NES Classic, popped in Mario, I died the first level.
You're this is the first level. I should be able to get through this easy.
And I'm so glad nobody saw that.
Yeah.
I was embarrassed.
You're
my gosh!
Right, pull out of your back pocket your game man card.
Yep. Here, just shred that. I don't need it anymore.
Just take it away. Pull out also your GameStop card.
Yeah.
Your Hasty. Everything else.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take another break. And when we come back, we got a couple movie reviews, video game reviews, and I got quite a yarn to spin about something that happened to me this weekend. So we'll be back right after this. On the historic streets of Ogden, there are two kinds of people, readers and non-readers. Here's where you can find their stories.
Booked on 25th Street, located at 147 Historic 25th Street, Ogden, Utah, 84401.
Yeah, stop by and say hi to our friend Marcy. You can pick up a new or used book, or you can sell your own used books.
That's right, you can get 10% store credit on what they can sell the book for.
Stop in and say hi, or call them at 801-529-7720. You can find them on Facebook at facebook.com/bookedon25th, or you can email them at marcy@bookedon25th.com, or visit their website, bookedon25th.com.
Be sure to tell them that World War G sent you. Now back to the episode.
And we're back.
I've been needing since Uncharted 4. I've been needing an Uncharted fix.
You jonesing?
Yeah,
You're
pretty much.
jonesing for Drake?
You guys can't see this, but my hands shaking. I'm scratching the back of my neck. I'm just I just one hit, man. I just need a little bit more. And they delivered with Uncharted Lost Legacy. I was going to purchase this game, and I had every intent. I even put $5 down so I could get it pre-ordered so there would be enough copies to go around. And then I realized and looked into it because one of my friends had said, hey, if you bought the DLC triple pack, you would have gotten this game because they'd only intended to make it a DLC 2 hours long. And then they turned it into a full-length game. But if you purchased that DLC back when Uncharted 4 first came available, then you got this full-length game for free. So
right.
I downloaded it, and I've been playing the heck out of it, and it's fantastic. It follows Chloe, and she's a returning character. But she's on a quest to kind of find what her father had set out to look for. I don't want to give too much away, but it's Uncharted 4 all over again.
Nice.
They've got that whole dynamic between the characters. There's tension. There's a couple of parts where you finally are introduced to the villain, and you have this beat down with him, and you get hit off a cliff and go bust into this water. And then there's quite a few quick time events. I do like with this game, you're given an option to run and gun more than you were in the previous games. You go in, but the only problem is a lot of the times when you start shooting at them and they like, oh hey, or they're alerted to your whereabouts, which is the same mechanics, where it'll start indicating that they can see you. Oh, you're found.
Yeah.
Once they do, they rush in. They do not stay back and play it where they typically stay in their spot and find cover and then shoot at you. No,
right.
they're running in. So you're having to flip from shoulder to shoulder to try to take down these guys. You're given a lot more options. You can throw grenades, you can drop plastic explosives, you can do all sorts of other crazy stuff. One of the other interesting things is occasionally I found myself low on bullets, and then you come across these lock boxes that are casually left for you to explore, but you can pick them, and you have to find the exact sweet spot to unlock it, and it takes a couple of tries, but then you'll find typically like really good stuff in these things.
Right.
So it's worth your time to, once you've cleared a level and they're like, phew, okay, let's go on. It's worth your time to kind of backtrack and look around, as well as you can find a lot of like hidden relics. The other thing that I liked about this game is they don't hold your hand when it comes to trying to figure out. There's a lot of different puzzles. There's even more puzzles than I remember in Uncharted 4. There was one in particular where you're standing up at the very top and you see this bell right next to this door, and there's all these bars on this door, so you can't get into it. You look back, and as I noticed that when I was running up the hill, I noticed that there was all these different chimes and bells that you could lock onto with your gun.
Yeah.
So then you had to shoot all of those and quickly make them all ring, turn around, and then the door would quickly open so you could run in and jump underneath. Another one that was pretty interesting is you had to manipulate these statue pieces and get them in the exact order because they cast a shadow on the wall, which you had to make the shadow work on this side, on the left side as well as the right side. There's some pretty trippy ones that took a lot more time, and eventually there was one point where they did say, do you need a hit? Or your partner in crime's there and just oh, I've got a couple ideas on what you can do. I think you got that middle, but even when they do give you a hint, I'm like, all right, I need a hint. Tell me where they're supposed to go. She's just I think you got that middle piece right. And that's all she said. I'm like, what the hell? Help me out here. Tell me which pieces I'm supposed to do around. Yeah, it was little generic, subtle hints, but for the most part, they leave you to try to figure it out.
Yeah, that always makes it feel dumb when you're sitting there for so long, and the game has to be okay, you obviously need help here, so let me give you a hint because you're obviously not getting it.
Yeah. Visually, this game is it's fantastic. Even your character, there's certain areas where I found myself looking for them because you'd run around and then you could see these little points where you'd stand up on a rock and you could see this overview of the whole entire lost city that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And then it gives you the option to hey, do you want to take a picture of this? So you pull out your phone and snap a picture of it just to kind of remember it. And after you've snapped so many, you do get a trophy off of it.
Oh,
but it's
cool.
kind of cool. You can even go back and flip through them like you would with your smartphone. But I did find myself looking around trying to locate these different spots where you could stand to kind of get the best shot. It was kind of fun.
So it's Uncharted Snap.
Yes, Pokemon Snap. Yeah, more or less. But if I could give this a rating, Out of 5, I don't know. I found myself loving the silent, this silent 9mm that they had. Out of 5 guns, I'm going with probably 4.5.
Wow.
It was really good. It was right up there. Like, if you loved Uncharted 4, you'll definitely love this installment. I don't know if it's necessarily worth the $40 price tag just yet. I might give it just a little bit, but yeah, it was. There was only 9 chapters, but each of those chapters, like some of them, it seriously took me like 3 or 4 hours to finish one because you're having to go to these different locations. Yeah. So they do make it worth your buck.
All right.
So there you have it.
Okay. So I went and watched Annabelle Creation, which you watched a few weeks back.
Yeah.
So here's my feelings on it.
I do need your perspective because a lot of the times, especially with Blumhouse, I kind of look through rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah.
So
it's like the same thing you did with me with Beauty and the Beast.
Mm-hmm.
It's decent. It's a good horror movie.
Once it gets going.
Once
right?
it gets going, yes.
Yeah.
I think you do have to see the other Annabelle movies because I think I've seen them, but I don't remember them.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little lost in a couple places.
Which places in particular?
The end.
Okay. Did you stay till the very, very end?
No.
Okay. There was actually 2 of them that they had. 2.
Okay.
Yeah. In credit scenes.
So there's that. Also, the film has a bunch of horror cliches in it.
It does. With the one in particular that I'm thinking of when they're starting the car.
Yeah.
And it keeps flashing and it's getting closer and closer. The one that was kind of different than I'd seen in the past was where the girl is sitting in the wheelchair out in the middle of the sun.
Yeah, and see that's one that also bugged me.
Really?
Because her friends were pretty close to her, and she started screaming, and it's like nobody heard her.
Right.
It wasn't until the nun came out and she screamed again, then everybody heard.
Like, oh, yeah.
And the film was full of stuff like that. That didn't make a lot of sense.
Where you think that you'd hear it being that close?
Yeah, she was, little polio girl, was screaming in the hallways.
Yeah.
And the rooms were on either side, and yet nobody came out to investigate. So, and there were other parts where, as soon as they introduced, the slow-moving chair down the stairs, I'm like, oh, well, that's going to come into play later. Or if they introduced, the room with all the dolls, or the barn, like, oh, that's going to come into play later. Sure. It's like you knew almost what was coming.
Yeah. Although that scene, like, did you not like that one where she's trying to unlatch herself and get off the chair?
Yeah, it was a cool scene.
It was pretty cool. Like, she's like ripping at it, like pulling at it, and like I found that's the scene that I found myself like holding my breath. I'm like, she's gonna go back up and see this creature, and it's gonna kill her. Yeah.
And that's another thing when they do show some sort of creature, that's becoming kind of a thing to do. Like, show this generic kind of demon-looking creature. Mm-hmm. It's like Sinister did it. Now these guys are doing it.
Well, okay, The Conjuring do connect with this movie.
Yes, they do.
And Annabelle, so there does have to be the same creature. Did you like the way that she was like sitting down for like tea, and then it got bigger and taller and gnarlier? Yeah. And also the other part I kind of liked is where she actually went into the closet where Annabelle was because she felt safer there than with the other girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
And and there was some good scares, and it was overall pretty entertaining.
Right. That one. Okay, the one guy that bugged me was the father.
Yeah.
he just got kind of annoying.
Yeah.
I knew that he had like although I kind of felt bad for him when his fingers started getting jacked.
Ooh, yeah. That hurt me to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, but So, the horror cliches aside, and just kind of focusing on the story itself, I think it tied into the other movies well.
Mm-hmm.
It had some decent scares. Not bad for focusing on. Basically, the stars were little kids,
Right.
and that's always a gamble because you never know if they're going to be good or not.
Right.
But they were decent. They were good little actresses.
The one where they're talking under the blanket,
Yeah.
or even when the one girl was like backing up further and further because that cloth was coming towards her.
Yeah,
and then just disappeared.
that was a cool visual.
That was
a cool
pretty awesome.
visual.
Yeah.
So that all that aside, I would give it out of 5. Oh, by the way, I was really sad they didn't utilize that scarecrow more.
Same here.
That was a cool looking creature.
It reminded me of like Jeepers Creepers.
So out of 5,
I'm guessing you're probably gonna say 2.5.
polio-ridden children.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2.5.
Yeah.
I'm lukewarm on it.
All right. It's decent. It ties well with the franchise. They do have it. It needs to end, but they do have it going. They're going to have at least one more Conjuring for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, it does have a lot of cliches in it. But overall, the story is good.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So the other movie that I would like to talk about and review, because we'd already made mention of it, that it was going to be in theaters for a one-time showing, was Batman and Harley Quinn.
Right.
This is Batman, Nightwing are forced to team up with the Joker's sometime girlfriend, Harley Quinn, to stop a global threat brought about by Poison Ivy and Jason Woodry, the Florence Man. There were certain aspects on this one I did like. Visually, it was amazing. Bruce Timm always does an awesome job. He's the one that did Batman the Animated Series.
Right.
And there were, every fight scene, you kind of had that background music playing in the background, which I found that I really enjoyed. But the thing that took me out of it was Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
I think Kevin Conroy, when he was talking about this, or not talking about the movie, but when he was voicing Batman, he was just like, all right, okay, do I really have to work with this person? You'll recognize her voice. It's Melissa Roach from The Big Bang Theory.
Right.
And they did bring back Lauren Lester, who voiced Robin as well as Nightwing from the animated series. But they had some cheesy jokes where she's sitting in the car with them, and it was one of those "Are we there yet?" kind of a scene, and she's like, "Oh man, that food that we just had didn't sit well with me," and she's like farting and burping. Although they took an interesting turn, because beforehand she fights Nightwing in this alley because he's trying to get information out of her about the whereabouts of Poison Ivy, and she ends up besting him and ties him to her bed and then has her way with him.
Yeah, I saw that scene.
Right? It was just like, okay, this is a little bizarre, but we'll go with it. Yeah,
people are not happy about that.
Really?
Yes, there's a lot of nerd rage about Harley Quinn and Nightwing hooking up.
That doesn't even fit whatsoever.
It's just more of the over-sexualization of Harley Quinn.
Mm-hmm. Oh, which they most definitely did, because she goes to her wardrobe and she's like, oh, should I wear this, this, this? And then she's like bending over and they zoom in on her ass. And yeah. I wanted to like this movie, and the plot is somewhat decent, and I didn't even mind that they had an agenda, because you could definitely tell they had a go green, save the earth kind of agenda. But this one was one of the weaker ones. The animation is probably the reason to see this one.
Right. If, to see the whole Batman animated series team back together. And yeah.
For nostalgia purposes.
Yeah. But I'm just tired of Harley Quinn. Just plain and simple. I'm tired of that character.
They even over-sexualized this one, she's just supposed to be kind of quirky and funny and random,
Well, and then when she debuted in Batman the Animated Series, which is where she first showed up, she wasn't over-sexualized.
No.
I mean, not too much.
She had kind of a little bit of a Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. And she had a little... I mean, there was a little sexualization there. Obviously, I mean, with the outfit and that sort of thing. But it wasn't overt like it's become over the past few years.
And they've even done that with this one. So I really, really wanted to like it. But it's one of the weaker ones of the bunch. I'm probably sitting at about 2 batarangs out of 5.
All right. So, take it or leave it.
Yeah, more or less.
All right. Okay, so if you haven't noticed during the course of this episode, you might have heard me yawning a couple times.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I am freaking exhausted. Now, let me tell you why.
Well, let me first quickly say, you had messaged me and said, hey, I've got a story to tell on the podcast.
Yeah.
And then you even, like, when we were talking off the air, you were saying, oh, man, okay, this story I've got to tell. And you're kind of building up to it. So now, like, it better be good.
I hope it's as interesting as I think it is.
I hope it delivers.
Friday night, I'm sitting on my laptop, and I'm cutting together and editing my new celebrity video.
Mm-hmm.
Joni's working late, and then well, let me preface this whole thing by saying, at the time, Joni's grandpa or grandma was very close to death. Very close. Great-grandma. She was like 90-something.
Oh, geez.
And we had gone and seen her the day before, and yeah. So Friday, she calls me up and says, I have something to discuss with you. And my first instinct as a married man was, what did I do?
Right.
Well, what did I do wrong now?
As you're on your computer, you're deleting your, your laptop history.
Crap. Delete browsing history. No, it's
like trying to rethink, like, what did I do? What did I do?
And she says, here's the thing. My mom, speaking of her mom, wants to see her grandma, Joni's great-grandma, before she dies. Now, her mom lives in Winnemucca, Nevada, which is 5 hours from here.
And the armpit of Nevada.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Let me get to that. Just wait.
All right.
And so she's on the phone. She says, well, see, here's the thing. My mom doesn't have a car. And as soon as she said that, I'm like, oh, no. And this was at 7:30 that night. And she says, so I was thinking maybe when I get home, we can load up on caffeine, drive through the night, and go pick her up. Sleep a few hours there in Winnemucca, and then drive back. I'm like, okay, great. Because she was going, and I certainly wasn't going to let her make that drive alone.
Right.
Especially being late at night, I might get tired. Yeah. Like, okay, well, let's do this, I guess. And so
is that when you hooked up, like, one of those hats where it's got a couple of Pepsis, with straws, like, coming down to those? Yeah.
And so I start gathering up a bunch of stuff. I'm gathering up, like, little snacks for the road and a change of clothes and toiletries and all that stuff. She shows up. We get a couple other things together, and we take off at about 8:30 at night.
Dang.
We are trekking out to Winnemucca, Nevada. Now, if you've ever been on the road from here to Nevada, there is a whole lot of nothing.
Oh, yeah, it's desert.
Yes, it is. It's salt flats. It's, mountains. It's
Cactus.
nothing. And so we ended up driving. We stopped at Wendover.
Did you at least listen to LeVar Burton or a podcast along the way?
Only when it was my turn to drive.
Yeah.
When it was her turn, we were listening to music. We stopped in Wendover to get gas, which I've determined is like Las Vegas, only without the class or reputation.
They do have a name. They call it Bendover.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to win anything.
No. And then that's when we switch. I start driving, and I drive the rest of the way to Winnemucca. Now, during this time, Joni's mom has set us up in a room at the Winners Motel.
Is that right next to the Bates Motel?
It's right next to the Winners Hotel and Casino.
Oh, okay.
A more ironically named motel you can never find. Because there are not winners staying there. Let me tell you that. So we get there finally at 2 a.m. We go, we grab our keys, we check in to our room.
Yeah.
Tiny little room.
Mirrors everywhere.
Yeah. It wasn't a horrible place, but it's definitely not one you want to stay more than one night at.
Yeah.
Terrible mattress. Didn't get a whole lot of sleep. Then we get up at 7:30.
Only after a couple hours of sleep, yeah.
Yep. Because her mom has an apartment just right down the road. But we weren't going to stay there because there's no room for us to stay there because her mom is a hoarder.
Yeah.
Just like her dad was. So here's the thing with her mom. She had ample time to get ready, get packed, because she knew we were coming.
Yeah.
We show up at her house around 8 o'clock, hoping that we were just going to go in there, get her stuff, get on the road, so we can get back to Ogden around 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We get there, she hasn't packed.
See, at the beginning of the story when Joni had said, "Hey, Troy, we're going to go. You're getting stuff ready."
Yeah.
Yeah.
The minute I hung up the phone, I was getting stuff ready.
Not the case.
No, she has not packed. And her mom is also extremely scatterbrained. And so she packs one thing, and then she's like, "Oh, Joni, let me show you this." And she goes and grabs, and all of a sudden they're talking about that for 20 minutes. And so by the time we left and got on the road, it was, I am not kidding you, 1 p.m.
5 hours later?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez.
That was when, and that was after we had to take a check of hers to the bank, get breakfast for her at Jack in the Box, and drop off her keys to some lady she knows that works at the Maverick. Oh my gosh.
This sounds like a quest, and then you had to do all these other side quests.
Yeah. But before that, Joni and I ate breakfast at the Jack in the Box.
Mm-hmm.
And while we were there, all of a sudden, we saw all these police and U.S. Marshals with guns, with AK-47s and shotguns. And they were looking in dumpsters and stuff. And they came into the Jack in the Box. They went back. They were looking in restrooms and everything. What the heck is going on? There was a manhunt going on for some guy who had come from Sacramento, California, who was wanted for beating his wife and 2 kids with a hammer.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Not killing them. But yeah, pretty much beat them senseless. And I guess he was holed up in Winnemucca somewhere.
Yeah.
And
Nobody would think to look there.
Yeah. And so we're sitting there. I'm eating my breakfast burrito while this cop with an AK-47 is walking by.
Yeah.
And Joni's like, "Are we going to die?" I'm like, "No, because I am not dying in Winnemucca, Nevada. Let me tell you that. There is no way." Eventually, they did catch him, just as a side note. So, even before we went out of town, left the town, we had to find an alternate route because we'd taken so long that a parade route had started up because of Labor Day weekend. And so
a random parade in Winnemucca, just like it was all like 10 people, a couple of cows.
In the only main street they had.
Yeah.
That's how small this town is. And so eventually,
I can't tell you how many times I've been driving a place and have to detour for a parade.
Yeah. So eventually we get on the road. It's 1:00 in the afternoon, and her mom will not stop talking.
Just put in your headphones. And just drive.
I forgot them. Just random stuff, just out of nowhere. And
squirrel.
If she was awake, she was talking. And I'm not kidding. 5 hours straight, she did not shut her mouth. Unless she was sleeping, which she did twice for 40 minutes each time. Oh my gosh. By the time we finally dropped her off at Joni's aunt's place, I was ready to kill her and everyone in that house.
Hammer?
With a hammer, like that one guy did. I had reached my wit's end at that point.
Yeah.
And because of, lack of sleep and just overall annoyance, I'm freaking exhausted right now.
You were trying to avoid every pothole so she'd sleep longer.
Yeah.
Shh, don't wake it. Don't wake her.
It's like we were traveling with an infant, and she fell asleep, and we didn't want to wake her up because she might. As soon as she wakes up, she's gonna start crying.
Yeah. Dang it! See what you did.
Yeah. Dang, you woke up the baby. Yeah. So that was my last 48 hours.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
You don't have to drive her back, do you?
No.
Okay.
And even if that's the case, I'm like,
Uber.
Have fun. I'm going to tell Joni, see ya. You can go with her aunt and take her back. I ain't getting in that car again.
Yeah.
Not with her. No way. Oh, and here's the other thing. When we got to the apartment, an hour out of the 5 that we were there, her aunt texted her and said that her grandma had passed away.
Oh.
So this whole thing was for naught. Basically.
No, because you got a story out of it, Troy.
True.
Right?
So yada yada yada, I'm very tired today. As they said in Seinfeld. Yeah.
Well, there you have it.
There you have it. That was my adventure. All right. Here's where you can find us. You can listen to all of our episodes at worldwarg.podbean.com. You can find us on iTunes and the Google Play Store. Just search World War G. On the social medias, you can find us at facebook.com/World War G podcast. We're also on Twitter and Instagram at WWG Podcast. Go ahead and follow us there. You can find our shirts and the rest of our merchandise at shop.spreadshirt.com/World War G. You can also email us anytime.
Day or night.
At worldwgpodcast@gmail.com. So, this has been World War G, episode 143. That has been AJ.
That has been Troy.
Stay geeky, my friends.
Thanks, Troy. Hi, everybody. This is Sean Ray.
And John Irons.
And we're the hosts of Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast. We're a show that has a little bit of everything.
Yeah, we talk about movies and TV and cartoons, entertainment news, and every show has a different theme.
That's right. We might discuss anything from our favorite bad movies to who would win in a fight between C-3PO and the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. That was episode 41, a classic. You can download that episode and all of our other episodes on iTunes and Stitcher, We're on Podcast Addict and, of course, on our website, cosmicpotato.com.
It's special guests and movie news and geeky nerddom and nerdy geekery and lightsabers and Time Lords and Ninja Turtles all the way down. So check out Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast.